This is an Ellis Mowers and More small engine repair. Stay connected on Instagram and Facebook at Ellis Mowers and More. Comments or questions? Leave them below or email me, ellis@ellismowers.com. Parts used in today's repair are found using the links in the description below. And as always, like and subscribe for more small engine content. On today's small engine repair, we're going to be working on this John Deere X300. It has 111 hours on it. It has been sitting up for a little bit. The original reason it was parked was because of a no spark issue. So since then we have culminated and we now have a carb issue as well. And we've got to free up some deck spindles and stuff along those lines just because it's been sitting a while. But I do have a grip on what's going on the spark issue. I'm going to show that to y'all. Terrell Fixes All has covered this as well in a quick video, and thanks to him, that helped confirm my suspicion as to what was going on. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started on this John Deere X300. We're going to go ahead and bring it back to life, and hope y'all enjoy the video. So we'll jump right into it here. You can see that when you put the brake on, so the start mode is enabled, so to speak, with the brake on. And if you look down here, we do have spark, but the reason why we have spark is because I have unplugged this. This is the ignition, this is like an electronic control module up here on the top. The part number, I don't know if you can see it, is AM141075. It's around a $100 part. This is what's preventing this mower from running. So what I'm going to do now, I think y'all saw it spark earlier. I'm going to plug that module back in and just watch right here, and you're going to see it, all the sparks gone away. So that's the problem. I have traced all the wiring, and again, if you unplug this right at the ignition coil, you have spark. Or if you don't have this engine cover off, there's a connector, a black connector right around this area right here that you can unplug to check for spark. I traced all the wires. All the wires are good. As soon as I unplug that control module, it sparks and runs. So we can run it like that for now, but we have a carb issue because it's not running, but on starter fluid. So let me get the hood off here, and which is just a matter of unplugging the headlight switch, tilting this down, and lifting it off like that. We're going to expose the carburetor here. Going to back it in the garage a little bit more to stay out of the rain, and we're going to see if we can fix the carb issue, number one. As long as we can do that, we can at least run it, probably pull the deck off of it, get everything nice and freed up on it, and then finally what we'll do is order that control module, and this thing should be ready to rock and roll. Alright, so we're going to do the carb next first. 210 millimeters, just make sure your ignition switch is off. Like I said, we can get by with this, and we can actually run it with that module unplugged. It just will not turn off until the anti-backfire solenoid runs the gas out of the carb bowl, or prevents the gas from getting into the carb bowl, and the gas in the carb bowl runs itself dry. So that's the main thing. So we've got, let's see, so that's like a governor spring or something right there. What we can do now is hopefully take this intake tube off. Issue there is the breather tube the way they put it on, can't get any pliers up underneath it here. So I'll go ahead and take the fuel line off too. Of course, they put these in the worst positions for the clips. So you're going to take the clip off right here. You're going to take the clip off on the back side of this air filter right there for that breather tube, and that should allow us to get, well, you got to take the clip off here for this. This is like a, what do they call it? It's almost like an EGR tube, or not an EGR tube, but a tank vent, because they have to have sealed systems now per government regulations. And we should be able to pull this thing right off. So I've done everything I just mentioned, took the fuel line off, took the breather pipe off, took this gas tank vent line back off, and then that just allowed this, the intake tube to come right off. Now the only thing I have to get off is the throttle, which looks like it just pulls off, and the spring might be the difficult part here. There we go. We'll just set that to the side. And this carburetor should just come right off. It's most likely, looks like we've got to take the anti-backfire solenoid off the bottom there to first, or what's probably going to be easier is these few 10 millimeters to house the exhaust. I don't like putting this back on when it's on the machine, just because it's prone to not sealing very well. So hopefully this will just come off. There we go. Hopefully the exhaust is not in the way now. It's not. So it just comes right off after you do that. Remember, you have to unplug your anti-backfire solenoid on the bottom. I'm going to get this on the bench here. And I see the gaskets are kind of iffy too. I'm guessing that this backfire solenoid just got stuck. We do have a little bit of, we do need to lube up the choke a little bit because it's not returning. The return spring's not working very well. And we'll do that on the bench. Give you all the bird's eye view here. What I've done is taken off this solenoid. You kind of have to use like a sawed off or grounded off 1/2 inch wrench to get underneath because you don't have a lot of room. Pulled this bowl off. Y'all can obviously see that it's pretty rough in terms of a lot of varnish and stuff. But this backfire solenoid as well, I have a feeling that it was a little difficult to pull back. I want to use some lubricant. There's some guys at Strike Hold sent me some stuff. I'm part of their affiliates program, so I put a link down in the description. It's cleaner lubricant protectant for all metals, made in the United States, which is great. I'm just going to throw some of this. It comes in a bottle and in a can here. That's probably overkill, actually. And all we're going to do, and it already is going down much easier, I'm just going to work it in there. And we should be good. I'll double check that it works. But yeah, Strike Hold. So it's worked really well so far. I put it on some Craftsman pulleys that were seized up underneath the transmission. Oh wow, that's so much That's what we want to see. As long as the solenoid itself is working, the plunger will work great. So that's great. Strike cold for the win, right? My next order of business, I don't think this carb is so dirty that I need to take it and put it through the ultrasonic, so seems like we've got decent flow through there. The needle and seat are going up and down like they're supposed to. So what I'm just gonna do is grab my drill and just kind of clean this out a little bit. Got to be careful because I don't want to mess up this gasket seal here, and this gasket actually is kind of locked in. Wasn't leaking from what I could tell. Might be able to just get a rag and do this. But yeah, so we're just gonna kind of swipe this clean here on the carb bowl. Hey, that works great. It just took it all off there. So just a light varnish. That's really all we needed to do there. And then we got a little bit of a light varnish on that float, but everything else seems to be in really, really good shape. It ain't much to take these carbs off anyways. I'm gonna run a wire through this. Just to make sure that we've gotten all the junk and stuff out of the way of the jet going up. We do know it has flow, so that's good. And it feels like we're good, so that's good. We'll give it 1 or 2 more sprays with the carb spray. Oops. I think we're good. Throw it back on the machine. Since I didn't show you how I took it off, I'll show you how it goes back together. Really easy. The gaskets actually stayed on the bowl. We use the strike hold to make sure that we have good plunging action when it comes to the anti-backfire solenoid, which is great. And just tighten her up, and that's all we've got to do. We'll go ahead and put it back on the machine just like we took it off. And once I get it back on the machine, we'll try it back out. So I put everything back on. Pretty self-explanatory. You just slide the carburetor back on. The linkage just pops back in. The spring you just kind of have to get right. And then it's these two 10mm, which are the throttle and choke assembly, after you slide on the intake tube and plug your anti-backfire solenoid in, and put your grounding post for the anti-backfire solenoid back on. You put your 2 nuts on, connect your breather tube and your vent tube from the gas tank, and you are ready to rock and roll. So let me put this breather tube clip back in its rightful position here. There you go. All right, so this well, let's put this guard back on as well, because I don't want it to, I don't want us to have any issues with vapor lock or anything when we're trying to test this out. So give me just a brief moment. I'm going to put these 6 screws in. Yeah, 6 screws in for this, and we'll give this thing a whirl, see if it runs. And the last thing before we get started, this right here is the module, the electronic control module. I'm going to take a screwdriver, push that white plastic tab in, and just take it off. We know it has spark with that off. Again, pretty definite that we have an issue with that. So let me see if I can crank this up. I can hear the solenoid working when I turn on the switch, and we'll see if this thing will, let's see, make sure I don't have any loose parts here. We'll just run it for a brief second, and then I'm just going to throw all the stuff back on together. I put the air filter on just so it doesn't suck any foreign objects in there. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Almost, yeah, let me turn my fan off. Almost sounds like I can't hear that solenoid working anymore. I don't. Weird. I wonder if it's attached to this. Ah, it is. I do know what I can do. Alright, so we're not going to do that. We're not going to unplug that. What we're going to do is unplug this wire right here. And that wire right there at the ignition coils. Or, let me do this, what's even better, so I don't have to get my hand up near the top there. There's a black wire. The black wire for this is underneath right here. And what you can do is just pull it out right there. So it should start now. Choke's a little sticky. Fuel solenoid will turn it off. So that's a good thing. But yeah. Whew. About to throw down around here, guys. Anyways, we'll stay in the safety of the garage as this goes through, and we'll keep on plugging away here. I do need to change out that control module because I'm not going to rely on the solenoid to turn it off, because that's not the way that it should be. As the thunder rolls and the wind blows. Alright, I'll put the cover on and I'll rejoin y'all. I guess we'll do the deck next, because we've got to free up some stuff on the deck. So I took the intake tube back off, tried to WD-40 strike hold this, and nothing worked. So what I ended up having to do is take a drill. This is a 7/32, and that seems to have done the trick. I had to take it through the, so I took the choke off here. I'll show it to y'all real quick. And then I pulled it out, and then I drilled 7/32 hole all the way through, from right here all the way through, and I caught the other side as well. And you just put it back in and twist it up like so. Whoop, gotta twist it. Whoop. Okay, so it goes, that spring goes on the back side under this little knob thing right here. That's the choke off position. This is the choke on position. You want to make sure that the choke is going to retract, which I have already confirmed. I just showed it to y'all. But let's see. So it's going to go like this. Slide it in. And, well, I thought we had a good choke. Now we do. So the choke is opening and closing like it should. So now let's just, redo everything that I just undid right there. The good news is, in terms of carb stuff, this is done. I just wanted to show that to y'all while I was here. If you're battling a stuck choke, that's probably your best option, is just drill that out a little bit. Just a tiny bit. I didn't see any varnish or junk or dirt or anything of that nature on it, so I don't know exactly why it was sticking like that, but now it's not. So that's an excellent thing. I'll put all this back on. I think I already showed it to y'all. And I'll get it out. We'll drive it around now that the storm has subsided, thankfully, and make sure everything's good on it. I'll put the cover back on, and then we're going to tackle the deck. The deck's got some stuff that it looks like it's just kind of been rust welded together, and we just got to take it off and knock her loose. So let's do it. We're back together. The Thunder's still a little bit too close for me to drive outside, but we can at least turn this thing on. One thing I'm curious about, though, is if the ignition switch is what kills the spark on this, or if it's that module. Now that module, I'm sure if it doesn't kill the spark, is associated with all the safety switches and stuff. We're going to replace it anyway, because that's doing it right. There's a reason why everything's on a lawnmower, so. I'm just curious, though. Oh, let's see. I don't know if y'all can see that spark right there, but I'll keep y'all updated on it. So no, that module does not kill the, or that module does kill the spark. The ignition switch does not. In all honesty, you could probably get by with even not replacing this. If it was my personal mower, I'd just let it ride. But this is going to be sold. It needs to be done right. So let me crank it up. We're going to make sure that it goes forward and backwards like it's supposed to. Starts up and runs great now, though. Let's see if that module impacts any of these safety switches that we've got. Like I said, nobody would know the difference if I replace it or not with the way that I've got it set up. It just gets killed by the solenoid. But what we need to do next is actually lower this deck. We've got to get some stuff freed up. So that's going to be good. Once we get that freed up, running and cutting, I have enough confidence that I'm going to order the module. And we'll be good. We've been really busy since I've been really busy since I went full time. We have a full garage here. That's why I'm working in such tight quarters right now. And it's the thunderstorm that never ends. I will lower the deck, and I'll show you how to take this deck off. This deck belt is one convoluted mess, so I will kind of show you the routing of the deck as well, if that helps y'all out any. It's complicated. Hopefully we're not going to have to take anything off, or any of the deck belt components off, in order to get this freed up, but we shall see. This has been on and off for like an hour and a half now. There's some serious wind. Anyways, we're gonna get this deck, the deck itself off. Wow, that's some wind right there. Have some pine cones to pick up later. The X300, you've got a clip on each side here. Man, the pine cones are coming down. Either way, so I've already gotten the left side off. The right side just comes out like that. There's a pin that slides out. You have to be careful. Probably could raise this deck up just a tiny bit, but it slides out just like you see there. I was able to literally just pull the deck belt around the PTO. Crazy. Deck belt around the PTO to get it off. What I'm going to do next, so obviously I lowered the deck all the way to the bottom. I'm going to raise the deck all the way to the top here and lock it in place. Oh, so much cleanup ahead. Anyways, so that basically will get us out. I just have to slide this forward in order to get the deck off, and we're going to slide it out right here. We're going to see if we can free all these pulleys up. I'll put you on the tripod while we do this, and then I'll show you this whole complicated deck belt setup really quickly. I can't see it much because of the leaves, but I'll clean the leaves off. So, in doing a deck belt on one of these before, I've learned that you go from the bottom to the top. The hard way, I guess. But either way, and it'll get washed away by the storm anyways. You have to take this piece off right here, this bolt. I don't think there's a nut under it. And what that does is it allows you to get underneath this pulley. You also have the spring right here you get off. This is where you can use the tension or loosen the tension on the spring. Actually increase the tension on the spring so that you can get the belt on. That's all nice and tight, which is good. Now, looks like all of my pulleys are good except for this spindle on this side. So I just need to figure out how to get the spindle free. And we'll put this back on, grease up everything. Ugh. See, you have a little room to work here. But I'll grease up that spindle right there on the top, As long as I can break it free, I think we're going to be good. They're just rust welded. All these other pulleys seem fine, so that's really good. And then we'll put it all back on onto the mower. I'm going to grab a hammer, see what I can do. So underneath the mower, I just took this and boom, boom. And we have movement. We just got to make sure that that these pulleys are not rust welded here, which this side is. So you just got to pull that out. I think we're good there. And I think everything else is good. So again, that's all we needed to do. And the blades look pretty rough, don't they? I'm going to throw some lubricant on them and at least get them off here while we're here. Just looking at the blades real quick. Definitely got the it's got two different types of blades on it. I can't tell because this one over here definitely has more lift than that one. So we'll get a blade set in order for this as well as that control module. So we're gonna have maybe 150 bucks into this thing when's all said and done, I think. So all the pulleys are back on. I'm going to swap those blades out. I think we've got like 15/16 here. Definitely bigger than, I think they're bigger than 18 millimeter. Yeah, they're more like 15/16. Boom, right there. I'm not going to swap the blades out now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that we can get them off since we already have the deck off. One other thing that I can see on this is I was switching blades and stuff around, and this one, whenever you merge them together, I don't know if you can see that the one on this side is lower than the one on this side. Come up here, and if you look in relation to the deck, you can kind of see that that pulley is down on the inside of the deck as compared to this one, which is relatively level. So what has happened is something has hit something here. It's relatively common on these John Deeres for it to happen, and this deck is actually either pushed up on this right side over here, or on our right side here, or pushed down on this side. So the solution to this is to pull the spindle off and hammer it out. So what we're going to do, take the blade back off, we're going to take the spindle pulley off next. you can almost see where it's done this. What I'm gonna do next, I don't have the strike cord over here, I just got the regular WD-40, but we're just gonna spritz those, hopefully make sure that they come off here. You can kind of see where this has started to crack, or kind of has been pushed up a little bit right here. So what we got to do, just got to take the spindle off and just kind of beat it out. We might be able to knock it out without the spindle, without taking the spindle off, but I'd hate to break the spindle. But I can obviously see that this portion of the deck is raised and needs to be knocked back down. So I'm wondering if I can just take, without having to go to town too bad, take this hammer and just see, and it's already less bulging right there. So like I said, this is just like a trial and error thing too. I believe they also sell reinforcement rings for these, so you can buy those and that'll help as well. Well, that's already much better. That's already much better, actually. Really have a straight edge here, but maybe I can show you all how far off they are now. They're much better. Still want to beat it out a little bit though. So we're out by maybe half of what we were. So what I'll do exactly what I just did. And I fixed the guy's mower in D110 just like this 2 years ago, and it's still doing great. So as long as whoever owns this does not like tear it to pieces, then it's not going to revert back to its previous ways here. These are like 13 millimeters, and we're just going to take them off, and then what I'll do is just continue to do exactly what I did there, is just kind of beat around. I need to beat where those nuts are right here. If I can beat where those nuts are and get that back down, especially right here and right here, then I think we're going to be okay, to where the blades are not so far off that you're going to notice a big difference in how it cuts. So here's what I'm going to do next. Alright, I've put everything back on. I did exactly what I said that I was going to do. I had this pulley off. What I did is I took those 13 millimeters off right here. Half inch would also work. I took all 4 of them off. Basically all that did is drop the spindle down. I lifted the deck up, pulled the spindle out, took the hammer just like I was doing in the previous clip, hammered them down right at the bolt holes there, and that's what I did. Hammered them at the bolt holes, slid the spindle back on. Again, it's a trial and error thing, but I think we're really close now. I could be sitting here all day. I think I went too far originally, but I'll let y'all be the judge as to how close I am. Seems a lot better, doesn't it? I had to knock this back up just a couple of hits, but we're going to get some new blades on it. I think I showed y'all how to take all the deck off of it. So all you have to do is slide the deck back underneath here, and the first thing you do is slide it in the bracket right there. Lower your deck back down to the lowest setting, and then slide those in the holes. Slide these arms into the holes on the deck between the gap of those brackets right there. Slide your pin in from the back, use the clip to put it back in the front, and then use that 3/8 or 1/2 inch tensioner pulley arm. Get a ratchet, loosen that up, and slide your belt back on the PTO. That's all it is, guys. I hope that explanation works. I'm about to do it myself, and we're gonna see if this thing will run and drive and cut and do all that good stuff. All right, let me show y'all the way that the deck goes back on. So these, you slide these in, the rod goes to the outside of the deck on both sides, and then you lower the deck all the way down, which allows you to get those pins from the back side through this portion of the bracket and through the hole of the lift arm. Then you put the clip on. Same thing with the other side. You can get a ratchet in there if you want to. What I did is I just came to the front and literally on the, let's see, on this side of the belt, I just pulled on it hard, and I was able to get it around that pulley. So as long as thunderstorm number 4 of the day does not come before I can do this, let's get out here and crank it up, drive it. I'm sure that the deck should run. I've greased the spindles as well, so hopefully we're good when it comes to that. Let me hop on it. I'm wondering if that ACM has something to do with that, because it will not engage the deck either, which is really interesting. Let me try something here. I'm going to do a little bit more tracing. I'm hoping I'm going to do a little bit of research too, that the electronic control module is also what controls the engagement of the deck. So let me do a little bit more research. I know that everything on the deck is free. I just don't hear the blade clutch or the PTO clutch engaging. I think I've got y'all in a position that y'all can see us. We're going to change this electronic control module out, ECM. Again, this is an AM141075 part. Will be linked down below, and you can easily do this yourself. Spend the money, get the OEM John Deere one. They are a common failure point, but you don't want to be dealing with aftermarket modules and things along those lines when it comes to this. So plus it's only like a $30 difference. So what we'll do first, just going to take a small screwdriver here, get the tab on, little white plastic tab on the top. We're going to pull that out. It's one 10mm bolt that holds this on. Really easy. Get a socket, get a ratchet or something, or a wrench. Take the bolt off. It may slide in a bracket here. No, it literally just falls right off. You can see we had some sort of items on it, probably just from where it's set as well. So 2011. Looks like we have a pin down there that's bent also, which is kind of weird. Interesting. Either way, I think the whole module was bad. We'll just slide this one into place, I suppose. Doesn't look like it clips into anything. It just looks like it just sits up here with one bolt. Kind of sits in there just like that. I'll grab my impact here. We'll gently put it in place. Just like that. Doesn't ground anything there, it just grounds at the point where it needs to. We plug it in, and that should be all that we need to do. Let's make sure. Let me get y'all out of here and get another camera angle set up for y'all. But hopefully I just showed y'all what to do there, and we'll see if it starts up next. So what I'm hoping this does is whenever I start it up, hopefully well, I'm going to plug the kill wire back in. When I start it up, hopefully it'll run, and hopefully the PTO will work now. So we'll see if both of those things work. That's all it was, guys. That's all it was the well, that little module. PTO works now. Spark works like it's supposed to, and that's fantastic. So, given all of that, I'm gonna make everything look nicer. I'm gonna put some blades on it, and y'all seen me do that to many John Deeres before. Level the deck. Probably put a little bit of ATF in each of the tires just because of the price point of this machine. I think they're leaking down just a tiny bit over the course of a few weeks. That way the new owner doesn't have to worry about it. And groundbreaking, I'm going to take some ATF and wipe it on this plastic hood here to make it look a little bit shinier, because that's really the only bad cosmetic portion of the machine right now, is that hood is a little faded just from age. This is, I think, a 2011 model. And a little bit of rust right there on the seat, but that's the only flaw. A little bit of a couple of small cracks too, and a little bit of paint fade right here just from where I washed it. Not bad at all otherwise though, guys. So let me do those items. I will give y'all a final look since we are basically finished with working on this machine. Give y'all a walk around. I have completed everything, new blades, greased all the fittings, and even threw some transmission fluid onto the plastics, and check out how shiny they ended up becoming, which is excellent. It's going to be great for resale, because you know some of the stuff I get is a little bit abrasive. The cleaners just have one small crack right there on the hood, and that's the only blemish really on the hood. And then on the machine itself we have the typical cracks right here in that portion of the seat. And just that rust spot, which I don't know, a great way to get out, but everything else looks fantastic on it. Just like I said, needed a really good cleaning. Engine runs good. PTO now works, which we just did. I've leveled the deck on it, and it's ready to go. So I'm gonna be a little optimistic on this. I asked $1,900 for it. It's got 100 hours on it. I think that it's worth that, because these things are good. I think they start at $3,800 now, and this is kind of the entry-level model for these. So granted, it is about 12 years old, but with it being such low hours, it's excellent. So that's it for this video. You'll have to let me know what you think about this. I'll go out enough to say that if I were a homeowner looking to buy a new lawnmower in today's time, I would buy one of these. Wouldn't touch any of the box store models. This right here, you see them with thousands of hours on them. Sometimes they just go and go and go. You replace belts, do oil changes, sharpen blades, replace blades. Fairly simple. Again, I guess one of the big flaws of these is that computer module goes out, but it's $100, so you don't really have to do anything else, and that's good. This did look like you may want to put reinforcement rings on your spindles. This one right here must have hit something kind of hard and misaligned the spindles. We got them back even again. They should be good for the next owner. It happens on these decks, just kind of the way they're stamped. Sometimes they're a little bit thin right there where the spindles come in, or if you get jarred enough, it's going to twist that deck up a little bit, and that's exactly what happened to this. Nothing crazy. All of it's been fixed. Everything is leveled. It almost looks brand new at this point, except for them couple of minor cosmetic flaws that I showed y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed this video, learned a little bit about the X300, and I want to thank Terrell Fixes All for the rather obvious fix, and had the same symptoms that that mower that he had. If I remember, I'll put the link to his John Deere video in the description below too, to give credit where credit is due. If you came by and watched this video to the end, I really do appreciate y'all watching as always. We're gonna have a treat on the next video if y'all are long-time watchers. Got a Skag Pro V coming up on the next video. So I hope y'all enjoy it, and I appreciate y'all watching as always. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. And the wife got the nail polish out and got that rust stain off the seat, so it looks even better now. Didn't want to leave y'all hanging with that. I do appreciate y'all watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.